Good day, everyone. This is Ernie Kish from the Kish Cash Fund, and we're taking a look at our trade today, June 29th, Wednesday, 2011. We're initially going to take a look at the spider. Let's see, this would be like a Monday. Let me put a little check. Monday, Tuesday, and today, Wednesday. We did trade on Friday, and did not do well on Friday. I'll tell you why. Tony Turner said we got caught in a bull trap. So when things opened up here, gap down on Thursday and then ended up at this high, when they opened up here on Friday, we thought that it would go up. Well, it went down, of course, and we did not adhere to our stop, so we got our head handed to us. So we didn't adhere to a stop. That's very dangerous to do. On Monday we made a little bit of money. Tuesday we took the day off, and then we traded today and we shorted the market and got our head handed to us. So again, we did not adhere to a stop. Tony says take an oath on your mouse. And you know, I was talking to my best friend Peggy about this, and she said, you know, you trade well, it's just that you don't adhere to your stop. So, you know, on those days that, you know, you lose a bunch of money. So, and she's so right. And I said, well, you know, I was looking at and she said, no, you didn't adhere to your stop, right? And it took me a long time to just say, oh yeah, it didn't matter what was going on during that day and how confused I was, or what this or what that. It didn't matter. Once I was into a trade, how I got into that trade or decided to get into that trade, it didn't matter that I made the wrong choice. Okay, but once it hit my stop, why did I not go out? And that's the crux of the matter. Okay, so taking the oath on my mouse right now, I will not go by my stops. My stops are either 5 or 10 cents. So should I go past a 10-cent stop from this point on, I'll be using probably 5-cent stops a lot, because most of my plays are scalp plays. So you can't be scalping the market with anything more than a nickel stop, I don't believe. Because I've been getting my head handed to me. So with that oath being taken, then that is that. All right, let's take a look at a minute chart, or a daily chart on Axel, and we'll get into some of my psychology a little bit, that I've been thinking about what I have been doing right and what I have been doing wrong. The stop thing's a big deal, but there's something else that I just wanted to mention to you all, and again, in a hope that I'll be figuring this thing out, and if you're experiencing some of the same dilemma, then hopefully you'll be able to we'll help each other figure this thing out together. Okay, great. Here comes the next chart. Okay, we're looking at the daily chart on Axel right now, and a couple of things that I did see, but for some reason, because Axel has been on the skids along with a whole bunch of other things, I wasn't shifting. I was still in that things are still coming down frame of mind. But here's an ascending triangle. It does this on the daily chart. I saw that. Here's another ascending triangle forming. Yesterday it had this happen, and then I was just skeptical about the whole thing. It did exactly what all of these things say that they'll do, like 80% of the time. So why did I decide to do what I did? I believe I think we can start talking about the greed word, and let's take a look at a 5-minute on Axel, and we'll get into that. Okay, we're taking a look at a 5-minute on Axel. Hang on just a second. Going to switch this. I think I got something with a number here. All right, back at the 5-minute chart on Axel with our pivot point numbers that we had from yesterday to help us plot out what we might want to do. Well, we weren't being very well in touch with things this morning when we decided to short this. The decision was to short it right around about 10:05, so that would be right around in here. So as soon as this thing went to like 11:08, I knew that I was cooked. Why I stayed in for the whole day? Well, I didn't quite stay in for the whole day, but dangerous enough to do. Again, I was looking at the 3 stocks. I hadn't gotten in, and Nvidia was tanking. That would have been a nice play to get in because that was a tank initially, and then it found its bottom at around a little over $15, and then came up. But I saw that, and I said, well, that kind of blew by where I was again thinking shorting the market since that was tanking so much. Axel was like just hanging out like 11:05, 11:03 for the first half an hour, and I just went ahead and without a lot of paying attention to what was going on that morning, I went ahead and entered Axel on the short side. And I think I just wanted to enter a position. I was speaking of this here. I said just last night when we were planning this thing, or I might have planned this. Yeah, just last night when we were planning this thing, I said if it ever gets up into this area or higher, I mean that my God, I would short that. And where did I short it? I shorted it at 11:05. So I shorted it right here. So I think the greed part came in. I hadn't gotten into anything yet. I wanted to, and so out of just blindness, I think is what happened. I entered short at 11:05. Okay, so making that mistake. Then the other big mistake was not getting out at least here anyway, with a 5-cent loss. I was mesmerized by the charts and said, "Oh my God, I'm losing a lot of money on it. How am I going to explain this to people that I'm, going to be presenting this to?" And I just said, I'm just going to have to do it and figure out what my problem is, and either stop trading and take my money elsewhere, or figure it out, because I enjoy this. This is fun for me. Okay, so then I got the trade god smiled on me, and Axel started to come down. I says, well, I don't think it's going to come down to 11:05, but it started to go, so I was losing less money, and I said, oh, thank God I'm losing less money. And I got out somewhere right around in this area at $11.38. I took a 33-cent loss, and of course here's my stop, 05. Okay, so that's I need to work on that big time. I've taken my oath. Okay, if my word is anything, then I'm going to be sticking to this stuff here. I have to. Otherwise, my trade account. If you were trading this account, or you saw somebody trading this account, what would you say? You'd probably be down to nothing in not much time. So we have to, rule number 1 is protect our capital. We haven't been doing a good job of that. And the greed factor's coming in. So, and once we get in, of course, we've been hopeful also. So we've come up with these wonderful plans with pivot points and Fibonacci's, and a couple of the rules we're not obeying is rule number 1, protecting our capital, and number 3, rule number 2 is trade well. Rule number 3 is you're blowing by your stops. So the basic rules, number 1 and number 3, we've been blowing by our stops, and it's because of the emotion factor. So we must trade once we enter mechanically. We have to plan, but once we mechanically decide to enter that position for good or bad reasons, whatever reasons we decide to do that, we'd be so much better off if we just adhered to our stops. So this is a lesson in stops, folks. And not being emotional and just doing it. I have an INFJ personality. It might be difficult for me not to be emotional, but Tony Turner and I believe John Carter are both INFJ personalities also, and they've got it down. So there's no reason why I can't get it down and you can't get it down. We just have to take a look at ourselves, see what we're doing, and say, oh, am I doing that? Okay, well, I'm going to have to change then, aren't I not? Okay? All right, let's keep green on our screens out there, and because we are traders, let's trade.